Let's build a better Earth. Hi, I am Miles Thomas, and I think that we need to help save our Earth. I will be talking about pollution and how it affects us, and even more how it affects low-income, indigenous, and people of color communities. Air pollution is everywhere, but is that a problem? Yes, it is. Air pollution can lead to heart attacks, strokes, and some studies have shown it can even lead to dementia. But this can't happen to me, right? Wrong! The World Health Organization estimates that 7 million people worldwide die from pollution every year. 4 million more people die from pollution yearly than COVID. And to further prove my point, the World Health Organization studies show that 9 out of 10 people breathe air with high numbers of pollutants. The 7 most polluted states in the U.S. are California, Pennsylvania, Texas, Washington, Oregon, and Alaska as of October 16, 2019. How pollution disproportionately affects indigenous and low-income people. More than 90% of air pollution-related deaths occur in low-income regions, like parts of America and Europe. In poor communities, landfills, pipelines, and toxic waste facilities, which are big polluters, are being forced upon indigenous people. Indigenous people are being forced to live within only 6 miles from abandoned mines. Contaminants flow through the soil, air, and waterways, so the people are being forced to drink contaminated water and breathe contaminated air. How would you like to get sick just from drinking water? Indigenous people have higher risk of cancer and asthma, and without proper treatment, they can die. How would you like to get asthma or wake up hoping you don't have cancer? The fashion industry. Fashion is getting cheaper, but that all comes at the cost of the environment. The fashion industry produces 10% of all carbon emissions and is the second largest water consumer. It is pretty obvious that flying in a plane or driving a car to work is bad for the environment. But did you know clothing is bad for the environment too? On average, people buy 60% more garment items than in 2000. The fashion industry produces 10% of the world's carbon emissions, dries up water, and pollutes streams and rivers. 85% of textiles end up in the dump every year, and when you wash some types of clothes, it sends thousands of tiny bits of plastic into the ocean. Clothing production has roughly doubled since 2000. Even though people bought 60% more garments, they kept them for half as long. Lots of clothing ends up in the dump. The equivalent of one garbage truck full of clothes is dumped or burned every second. In total, up to 85% of all textiles go to landfills each year. That is enough to fill the Sydney Harbor every year. I don't know the American equivalent. I just found this article. Washing clothes releases 500,000 tons of microplastics into the ocean every year. That's equivalent to 50 billion plastic bottles. Many of the fibers are polyester, a plastic found in an estimated 60% of all clothes. Producing polyester releases 2 to 3 times more carbon emissions than cotton, and polyester does not break down in the ocean. A 2017 report from the International Union for Conservation Nature estimated that 35% of all microplastics, very small pieces of plastic that never biodegrade, in the ocean came from the laundering of synthetic textiles like polyester. Overall, microplastics are estimated to compose up to 31% of the ocean's plastic pollution. The fashion industry is responsible for 10% of the world's carbon emissions. That is more carbon emissions than flights and maritime shipping combined. If the fashion industry continues on its current trajectory, the carbon budget could jump by 26%, by 2050, according to a 2017 report from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. The fashion industry is also the second largest water consumer. It takes 700 gallons of water to make one cotton sword. That is enough water to drink at least 8 cups of water for 3.5 years. It takes 2,000 gallons of water to make a pair of jeans. That is more than enough water to drink 8 cups of water every day for 10 years. That's because the jeans in the sword is made from cotton, which takes a lot of water. In Uzbekistan, for example, cotton farming used up so much water from the Aral Sea that it dried up after about 50 years. It was once one of the world's largest lakes. Now it's just a desert and a few ponds. Fashion can cause water pollution too. Textile dyeing is the world's second largest water polluter, since the water is often dumped into ditches, streams, or rivers. The dyeing process uses enough water to fill 2 million Olympic-sized swimming pools each year. All in all, the fashion industry is responsible for 20% of all industrial water pollution worldwide. Some apparel companies have started to change these trends by cutting back on textiles and growing cotton more sustainably. In March of 2019, the UN launched the Alliance for Sustainable Fashion, which will coordinate efforts across agencies to make the industry less harmful. Okay, I think you get the point. Now, before you have a panic attack, you should know there are a handful of things you can do to help. Recycling. Recycle your recyclable goods. Composting. Make compost by life size. Voting. Vote for a president or mayor or governor that will help stop pollution. Don't ride in cars if you don't have to, and order from sustainable brands. Credit. 1. These facts show how unsustainable the fashion industry is, by Morgan McFall Johnson. January 31st, 2020. Bye.